Hello and welcome to Talking with the Angels. Today is Tuesday, March 13th, 2018, and this is episode 3. I want to thank everybody for the sweet comments that you had private messaged me about podcast 2 and getting to know a little bit more about me. Yes, that was challenging, but I made it through. I overcame. I expressed my inner truth, and now you guys all get to know who I am. So thank you guys so much for messaging me and really giving me the feedback and letting you guys know that touched your lives. That meant so much to me. So today, episode 3. Now we're all past getting to know who I am and moving into the juicy good stuff. So today's topic is dynamic universe. I do want to talk about a little bit for a minute on how I get my topics, because a lot of people have asked me, well, how do you know what you're going to talk about? How does this? I really wait in meditation until I'm centered, until I'm quiet, and ask and say, Spirit, today I'm doing a podcast. What would you like me to talk about today? So before I did my one-on-one coaching with one of my clients, that's exactly what I did. I asked Spirit, I said, what would you like me to talk about today? And then sat in the stillness and waited for the answer. And they told me dynamic universe. So I sat and just channeled a little bit of notes, and I will kind of just flow with where they take us from there. But change, progress, activity, these all describe the words of dynamic. And I think it's important for us to allow change to happen, flow with ease, through it, resisting and flowing with ease. All right, so yeah, it's spring break here, and I've already been up early. Can you tell? So let's not stumble over our words, Tanya. Allowing change to happen, flow with ease, and really moving through change without resistance. And I know that is so much easier said than done. And when we resist change, it only affects us. Because I know that many times people are going through a hard time in their life and the world is still happening. And you're like, I'm going through crap over here and everything's still happening and I am having such a hard time. So how do we change our mental state? Because the dynamic of the universe, everything is always changing, evolving. How do we jump into that, into the universe, into our earth, into our daily lives, allowing and accepting and moving into that change with ease? Big concept, sometimes hard to do, but I'm trying to make this concept that I think sometimes our brain spins out of control, and trying to make this in a different perspective, look at this from a different point of view, and realizing it's not as hard as our brain thinks it may be. It doesn't mean it's as easy as popping a Tylenol and feeling better in 30 minutes, but it is something that we have to be kind of aware of. First and foremost, wanting to change, wanting to flow with ease, wanting to be flexible. Spirit's been using that word with me a lot, flexible, pliable. And I'm always like, okay. If you think of it, they're showing me the image of like Blubber, that cartoon where things just kind of bounce off without absorbing in. How do we become pliable? How do we become flexible? How do we become Blubber? And I'm only absorbing things that are worth value and letting the rest bounce off. It's moving into a state of knowing. Moving into a heart space of trust within ourselves. Because a lot of people come to me and say, well, I don't trust other people. And then I ask them, do you trust yourself? And they look at me sideways. And I say, well, they say, oh yeah, of course I trust myself. I said, then why don't you trust the other person? Well, they've done so wrong in the past, and things have done this, and, their behavior and things they did me wrong, I said, okay, well, you allowed that to digest into your energy. Therefore, resulting, you don't trust other people. So what if you've looked at this from a different point of view? If you imagine Spirit always takes me away from the table and turns it. That sometimes when people say things or do things to us, they're coming from a place of insecurity, fear that they are digesting, and I like to use the word vomit, all over you. It's your choice if you choose to absorb that. And then they come, well, this is family. And I'm like, okay, this can be tricky because worldly, we have had this idea that we have to stay in contact with family because they're our family, they're this, they're that. Just because you are born into a family does not mean you have to stay connected to them. There's no written law anywhere that says you must do that. That's a ingested society idea that has been developed into us over centuries of time. I tell my clients, let your heart lead. Move in a path of love and ease. It doesn't mean you have to disown them. It doesn't mean you have to walk away with them, but you can love them from a distance and continuously sending them, your neighbor, your enemy, love. Doesn't mean we always agree. But sending and changing the way you perceive them, you can do. Sometimes when people verbally attacked us or talk about us, or there's a lot of that goes around, they come from a place of ego, insecurity, and fear. And dealing with a lot of kids, especially the bullying that goes on nowadays, which is awful. When you sit back and you look about, this is where they're coming from. They have stuff that's going on behind the scenes you don't know about. But continuously sending them love, and because you know that they're in pain and they're lashing out. Because what they ultimately want to feel is love. That doesn't mean you have to go over there, and if you feel like making them supper or bringing them supper or cake, that's fine. But also saying a prayer to him, saying whatever speaks from your heart, from your soul to them. The less we digest in our energy, the easier change becomes. Some people will say that, well, it's happened within my household. You are one soul having your experience, and the children that you brought into this world, they're having their life experience. But I truly believe every time you step away from the table and look at it from a different point of view, whoever's perspective, a different point of view. This could be an argument with your partner. This could be an argument from your boss. Not always knowing you have to be right, but looking at somebody else's point of view and saying you can still stand in your truth and say, I still feel this way. But you know what? I recognize how you feel as well. And not putting I think this, come into a place of I feel this way. And how they take it is none of your concern. As long as you are being true to yourself and you're coming from a place of love, then that filter starts kind of happening where we can kind of start moving through change because you are leading with your heart. I recently talked about this on my Facebook page, Talking with the Angels, on my morning Monday messages. And one of the comments was, well, it's really hard to show love when you don't get it back. And I said, you brought up a very good point. You should never want to give love in return of love. You should want to give love. It's unconditional love and not expecting something in return. Just as simple as a birthday gift. Like, just because I gave you a birthday gift doesn't mean, or a Christmas present, I'm expecting something in return. You give from a place of love because you know what it's like to want to receive love. Because when you feel your heart and soul with unconditional love from self source, light. I mentioned that with one of my one-on-one coaching, one of my other ones today. You don't have to call it a thing. So many times words are attached, and I may have talked about this already. I don't remember. I talk a lot, and I don't know which one I'm talking about, if my Facebook page or here somewhere. So many feeling states are attached to words. Then just say light. If you don't want to call it source, you don't want to call it God or angels or whatever, call it light. Can't dismiss light. So when you call on that, it resonates out. And I completely lost my train of thought where I was going with this because I'm getting interrupted. The more you feel the light within, then it vibrates out. That's the feeling. Everybody wants to feel secure, loved. Recognizing that, excuse me, that's where ultimately everybody is trying to reach really helps you understand the person that you're about to make contact with, or your boss, or whoever it may be, your partner. So sometimes when change comes our way, it may be shocking at first. And we all have to, have our cry, our anger, or whatever. But when you move past that and you come into your stillness, that starts changing. Your reaction starts changing the more you practice this. This is like a workout routine. They say put it in your daily practice. Whatever your cardio, or you can tell how much I work out. Workout state, It's a daily practice. It's a daily practice. And so many coaches around the world teach this. It's a daily practice. And I think it goes beyond and it goes deeper than just saying it's because I'm not very good with routines. I kind of flow in and out of stuff because that's just the way I am. Routines are fine as I got to get my kids up, ready for school and that. But sometimes I don't like a routine. Sometimes I just want to do whatever the heck I want to do. But knowing I'm coming from a place of my heart first and following and leading with love, then I know that I'm not wrong. Wherever I go, wherever I choose to do whatever I choose to come in and so forth and choose to come out. So it's knowing you can put this in a routine, but if you're a person that doesn't fit in a mold like me, and this cannot be as a routine, it's coming back to that heart center. Feeling that good. It's I need to look up better words for how it feels. I think there's words on this planet to describe a meditation where you're touched by light. It feels vibrant. It feels tingly. I mean, it feels amazing. And that should be enough to keep you moving forward. Because when you feel that enlightenment, the tingling sensation, the fullness, you never want to go back to the state of doubt. That should be your routine, is knowing I know what crap felt like. I don't want to feel like that anymore. And now I'm moving into a state of pure bliss, of joy, of happiness. And when you are feeling raunchy, sitting back and saying, why do I feel like this? Where have I lost my way? Come back. You can always come back to light. There's a dawn of a new day every day. That's a mouthful. And knowing that, the next day, a new day will come. And if it doesn't, you're in heaven and it's better anyway. So, always striving for better, always striving for things that make you feel alive, that bring you joy, moving into that heart space, leading with love.